Protesters begin to descend on the Austrian Alps, where a closed-door meeting of the world elite is being held. We take a close look at the massive security measures now in place. Iceland's simple recipe for economic recovery proves a huge success. Just jail law-breaking bankers instead of bailing them out. And Hillary Clinton officially launches her bid to become America's first woman president. Later today, she'll hold her first campaign rally in New York. It is midday in Moscow. Thanks for joining us here on RT International. Here come your top worldwide headlines. Thousands of policemen are out in force in the Austrian Alps to protect the world elite who have gathered for their annual meeting. The Bilderberg Group has also attracted crowds of protesters who are slowly converging on the grounds. And that's exactly where RT's Peter Oliver is right now.
As you can see just behind me, demonstrators have started to arrive here just outside of the hotel where the Bilderberg Group meeting will take place for 2015. Now, we were expecting thousands to turn up here as Saturday progresses. But what we have seen is a very tight police cordon leading up to this point right here. It has been very difficult for many people to get into this area as that net fell down. In fact, some journalists have been subject to, well, rather humiliating police tactics. To talk a little bit more about the policing of this event, I'm joined by Rob Dew, who's the news director at InfoWars. Rob, how would you describe the police presence here?
I would say in the beginning they were very brutal and very rude to us. They saw that we were from Texas, they pulled us out of the car, searched us. So the next time we go through the checkpoint, we start videotaping, because that's what we do in America. When we're feeling tyranny, we start videotaping.
They saw you were from Texas and started messing with you. Isn't that the one thing you're not supposed to do?
That's what we say, don't mess with Texas. So we started videotaping them, and we actually went to the police station live on Skype during the Alex Jones show and confronted them, because they were calling our hotel manager, asking us where we were, when we were going to be back, and we were fed up with it because we had already shown them our papers, and we were, we have nothing to hide, but we're also not going to take humiliation and just not going to take it.
Rob Dew, thank you very much. Well, as the demonstrations unfold here in the Austrian Alps for the secretive Bilderberg Group meeting, I'll be bringing you all of the action from the protests here on RT International.
Yeah, the Bilderberg gatherings attract attention because of the prestigious guest list. High-level politicians, bankers, big business, all there. But the mainstream media largely ignoring the event. Investigative journalist Tony Gosling explains the possible reasons.
Bilderberg does hide under a shell, and they try and make sure it's as difficult as possible to cover the meetings. We're given the minimal information, and there's very, very high security. The reason that the journalists don't go often is because their bosses are in there and sworn to secrecy. Of course, you're not going to upset your boss by trying to break their vow of silence. And we've got media barons in there, I would call them. These are generally controlled private media corporations. They're either the senior editors, managers, or owners of the big media corporations, and they're actually the fourth largest contingent at Bilderberg, so they're not far behind the bankers and the politicians and the owners of big industry. I mean, essentially media nowadays has become just something you can buy and sell.
It has been hailed as the Icelandic miracle by the media. The Nordic nation is set to become the first European country to beat its pre-crisis economic output. Back in 2008, the country suffered the biggest banking collapse in history. 7 years on, it's one of the best countries for business. Its GDP is on the rise and the coffers have all filled up. And in fact, there's even a budget surplus now. And inflation is at its lowest point since before the recession. Iceland's president is now giving lectures to leading business schools.
What did we do that's different? We did things that were considered absolute taboo. First of all, we let the banks fail. Secondly, we did not introduce the similar kind of austerity measures that have been almost mandatory in many other countries.
The cure was simple. Iceland let its out-of-control banking sector go bust. and put the executives behind bars for manipulating the market. Though that's when the UK was handing out massive rescue packages and the White House was buying huge stakes in the country's banks. An economics professor from the University of Iceland thinks other countries should learn from this type of recovery.
With the collapse of the financial systems, instead of bailing them out, those who lent into the mess had to take responsibility instead of, as you've done with the bailout packages, where the costs of the financial bubble are transferred to ordinary people. And we were not part of we weren't part of the European Union, so there was no proper lender of last resort. Unlike Greece, Iceland had the temporary benefit of having its own currency, and we've enjoyed also a tremendous growth in tourism post-crash, which has softened the blow for much of the services in Iceland. And so the balance sheet of the Icelandic government remained relatively clean after the crash.
On the way here on the program, the UN Refugee Agency raises concerns over the spike in migrants coming to Europe. This as some EU politicians put forward extreme ideas on how to curb the flow. More on that in just a couple of minutes. The former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is to formally announce her bid to become America's next president. Her first big campaign rally is planned for New York later on Saturday. And with the heat of next year's presidential race already being felt, RT's Gayane Chichikan has a look at her chances.
As Hillary Clinton hits the campaign road, it's people's trust, or rather the lack thereof, that's her major roadblock. Polls show most Americans don't see her as honest and trustworthy.
Clearly, we're seeing a candidate who right now is not showing us transparency, accountability, or a high level of ethical standards.
One of the reasons for the doubts are allegations of corruption. The Clinton Foundation, run by husband Bill Clinton, received millions of dollars from the same foreign donors for whom the State Department under Hillary Clinton approved $165 billion worth of commercial arms sales.
If you want a favor from one of the Clintons, whether it be Bill or Hillary in one of her positions as Senator or Secretary of State, what you do is you donate money to the Clinton Foundation. I would describe this as a classic corrupt deal. This is conflict of interest at the highest levels.
Dodging journalists' questions did not add to Mrs. Clinton's credibility.
Did foreign entities receive any special treatment for making any kind of donations to the foundation or your husband?
Well, we're back into the political season, and therefore we will be subjected to all kinds of distraction and attacks, and I'm ready for that.
Investigating any wrongdoing on her part became that much more difficult after Mrs. Clinton deleted thousands of emails which she had sent as Secretary of State. She was accused of not only hiding things, but also of lying. In a 2008 speech, then Senator Hillary Clinton recalled the trip she made to Bosnia in 1996.
I remember landing under sniper fire.
Problem is, that's not what happened. And we should know, CBS News accompanied the First Lady and daughter Chelsea on that Bosnia trip. That's Senator Clinton talking to me on the military flight into Tuzla. And these are the pictures we recorded of the greeting ceremony when the plane landed. Compare that to Senator Clinton's account.
I remember landing under sniper fire. There was no greeting ceremony, and we basically were told to run to our cars.
For a similar exaggeration, NBC anchor Brian Williams lost his job. Mrs. Clinton, on the other hand, went on to become Secretary of State, and now the Democrats' preferred candidate.
The party is all in, regardless of honesty and trustworthiness. It's kind of a sad situation, actually.
Hillary Clinton is expected to appear more presidential in the race due to her foreign policy record. But some of those policies, too, have landed her in trouble.
We came, we saw, he died.
A year after Hillary Clinton famously cheered for the death of Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, Libya was engulfed in chaos, and Americans, including the U.S. ambassador to Libya, were killed in Benghazi. Her response to the question, what led to the attacks, went viral online.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened.
Hillary Clinton's past endeavors give a glimpse of what to expect if she takes the White House. In Washington, I'm Gayane Chichikan, RT.
When Barack Obama entered the White House 7 years ago, his team promised to bring change to international politics. And Hillary Clinton, who then held the top diplomatic job, was tasked with clearing the skies with Moscow.
I wanted to present you with a little gift which represents what President Obama and Vice President Biden and I have been saying. And that is, we want to reset our relationship.
Let's do it together.
So we will do it together, okay?
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Certainly lots of happy smiles in the beginning. Though last year, Hillary compared the Russian President Vladimir Putin with Adolf Hitler when talking about Moscow's alleged aggression in Ukraine. We spoke to Robert Emmett Terrell Jr., editor-in-chief of the American Spectator magazine. He believes foreign policy is partly why Hillary Clinton will not become the next president.
Foreign policy is the first grounds to consider her remiss on, and the second grounds to consider her remiss are the question of hanging around with elites. Her rich connections are now a matter of the public record, and she makes a pretty poor champion for the middle class. She's just gained problems after problems after problems with revelation after revelation after revelation. I tend to think that she's going to have a difficult time getting the nomination and certainly winning the presidency in 2016.
And on the way here on the program, Russia's new IT capital. The city of Innopolis is ready to welcome specialists from all around the world. Just a moment, we travel to the country's scientific heart.